Hi everybody. Lainey has just talked about one half of my research life, which is the creative part, and this is the other part, which is less creative, but hopefully not too niche and boring for everybody. ISHR is the International Society for the History of Rhetoric, and it has a biennial conference. Sorry, I accidentally made really text-heavy slides because I didn't want to have notes. ISHR, or ISHR, as friends of ISHR call it, has a biennial conference. We work on rhetoric across history, so all of its forms and dimensions. That's rhetoric in my work as persuasive speech, but also all forms of communication. From antiquity to the present day, so we have people like me working in classical studies departments, all the way through to colleagues working in communications departments, talking about communication now. The theme for the 2025 conference, which was hosted in Copenhagen, was the idea of humanity in the history of rhetoric. And so myself and some colleagues from the UK, USA and Germany thought this was a great opportunity to push back against the idea of humanity and to present on post-humanism. So we put together a panel on, a double panel in fact, so panels are usually 3 or 4 people. At this conference we were supposed to have 7, we ended up with 6, on post-human approaches to Greek oratory, that is ancient Greek oratory. And papers on the panel, flies just landed on my glasses. That's weird, sorry. The papers on the panel address topics including object agency, feminist post-humanism, and covered legal, political and epideictic speeches from ancient Greece, mostly in the classical period, although we can see in the background of this lovely photograph of our panellists in Copenhagen the fantastic paper of our colleague Claire on Polemon, which is a later Greek writer, ancient Greek writer. Some next steps before I talk about my paper. We're hoping to bring the papers together for a special issue of ISHR's journal Rhetorica, and we're working on putting together the proposal for that now. If I can have the next slide, please. Thank you. So I'll say a little bit about my extremely niche, but hopefully somewhat accessible paper. So my paper was called Dark Ecology and the Rhetoric of the Land in Demosthenes against Callicles. That's Demosthenes speech 55. Demosthenes 55 is a weird speech. It's a speech from a legal case. It's a dispute over damages where 2 people who live next door to each other, 2 farmers who have adjoining farmland, in fact, one of them claims that the other one has put up a wall that has caused floodwater to flood onto his land. So we're talking about sloping land in Attica outside Athens, where water runs, when it rains, water runs down the hill. And this was my attempt to represent what might be happening. So originally the water runs down, perhaps it runs equally onto the farm of Callicles and the farm of the son of Tisias, who is our speaker in the speech. At some point Callicles builds a wall, the water runs onto the son of Tisias' farm and forms a ditch. The ditch is a key player in the speech, as I will argue. Then the son of Tisias puts up a wall and Callicles says this causes the water to flood back onto his land and damage his grain store, harming his farming business. Dark ecology is a concept conceived by eco-critic Timothy Morton, and is concerned with the interconnectedness of things being human things and non-human things. Interconnectedness in ways that is not about unity or harmony, but that might be weird, twisting and difficult relationships between non-human things and human things. I've put one little quote from the speech here just to give you a flavour of what I was analysing. So Demosthenes, or rather Demosthenes' speaker, says, "And consider, gentlemen of the jury, how many people have happened to sustain losses to their farms from floods, whether in Eleusis or elsewhere, and still, earth and gods, these people will not think it right to recover their losses from their neighbours." In my paper, I was arguing that by using dark ecology, we can read this speech in a way that reveals that Demosthenes creates a rhetorical strategy where the idea that Callicles, the prosecutor, is prosecuting a person is ridiculous, because the real Opponent in this situation is the land itself. And the real problem, the agon in Greek legal terms, it is between humanity and the land in which they live, a land which wants to cause them strife and wants to cause them problems, and won't make farming easy for them. The land itself is a legal opponent that can't be defeated and that will always be more powerful than humans. So prosecuting a person about it is completely inappropriate. So yeah, thank you very much.